There's always one person who just blends into the background. Someone you might pass on the street every single day, but never look at twice. Someone who watches, but is never watched. In the city of Ravenshore, that man was Elias Crane. Elias was a loner, quiet, awkward, and always seen with an old camera hanging from his neck. People just thought he was a harmless street photographer, capturing the city's moments. But the truth was far, far darker. Elias didn't take pictures of places. He took pictures of people. People he followed for days, sometimes even weeks. He would memorize their entire routines, where they ate, where they walked, where they felt safe. He kept all the photos in a locked room inside his apartment, a place he disturbingly called the archive. It was a wall covered in hundreds of faces, some smiling, some terrified, and some who were now missing. But there was one face Elias never photographed, one person he never followed. His first victim, her name was Lena Ward, a 26-year-old medical student who vanished 3 years earlier. No body, no witnesses, no answers. And Elias had kept her secret buried deep until one night changed everything. A new resident moved into Lena's old building, a young teacher named Maya Briggs. Maya didn't know the dark history of her new home, but Elias did. He visited that building every year on the anniversary of Lena's disappearance. It was a dark ritual he never broke. But that night, Maya saw him. He was standing under a flickering streetlight, staring up at her window as if he was waiting for someone else to appear. She called out, "Hey, can I help you?" Elias didn't run. He just tilted his head and smiled faintly. "Not you," he whispered, and then disappeared into the darkness. Maya thought it was just a creepy encounter. She had no idea. She had just reopened a cold case the police had long forgotten. Detective Aaron Keaton, the original lead investigator on the Lena Ward case, had never stopped looking for answers. His superiors told him to move on, but he refused. When Maya reported the strange man outside her window, Keaton immediately recognized the description. Elias Crane. His name had surfaced in dozens of missing person tips over the years, but there was never enough evidence to make an arrest. Keaton visited Elias the next morning. Elias opened the door calmly, almost as if he had been expecting him. "Detective," he said politely. "Back again?" Elias' apartment was spotless. Too spotless. There was no camera, no photos, no evidence of any kind. Keaton left frustrated, but he knew something was deeply wrong. Elias had scrubbed everything clean, but why now? It was because Lena's past had returned in the form of a new tenant. That night, Maya heard footsteps outside her apartment door. Slow, careful, deliberate. She peered through the peephole. Elias was standing there, pressing an old photograph against her door. It was a picture of Lena, taken from behind just moments before she vanished. Maya screamed. Elias fled into the night. The police arrived and Keaton found the photograph. His heart sank. Elias had finally made a mistake. A guilty man always returns to the beginning. A citywide manhunt began, but Elias was slippery. He knew the alleys, the rooftops, the abandoned buildings better than anyone. Maya was placed under police protection, but she couldn't sleep. Every shadow looked like him. Every sound made her jump. Meanwhile, Keaton dug deeper into Elias's life and uncovered something sickening. Elias only followed random people to hide his true obsession with Lena. He did it to disguise the fact that he returned to her last known steps every single year. The archive was never about the strangers. It was about the one woman he could never forget or release. 3 days later, Keaton found Elias right where it all began, behind Lena's old building, digging frantically in the frozen dirt. "Stop," Keaton shouted, his weapon drawn. But Elias just kept digging. "I told myself I buried her too deep," Elias said, his voice trembling. "But she keeps coming back. In my dreams, in that girl's window, in your footsteps." Keaton moved closer. "What did you do to her?" Elias finally turned, his eyes completely empty. "I didn't follow Lena," he whispered. "She followed me. She found me that night. She wasn't supposed to." And then Elias did something completely unexpected. He dropped the shovel, fell to his knees, and began sobbing like a child. "I kept her here," he said, pointing to the ground, "so she couldn't leave me again." Under the dirt, investigators found Lena's remains exactly where Elias had been kneeling. The case was finally solved. But the city of Ravenshore would never forget the man who followed everyone, except the woman he killed. Evil doesn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes it stands quietly in plain sight, completely unnoticed until someone finally pays attention. And sometimes, the people we ignore the most are the ones carrying the darkest secrets. Thanks for watching. If you found this story chilling, be sure to subscribe for more.